Alrighty, let's go. Welcome back to another episode of the Squishy Sports Podcast, giving you my round review, round 27 review, and NRLW round 10 review as well. The last round of the NRL regular season. We have got through 27 weeks all the way. We started in Vegas back late February, early March. We have arrived at the finals. And if you're wondering before we start, if you're watching a video, Squishy, you're looking good today. You're looking fresh. You're right. I got a fresh haircut. I know. I'm looking good. I'm feeling good too. It's September. It's a good month. October's next month. The best month is around the corner. As said, 27 rounds is done in the NRL. We have said goodbye to 9 teams. The top 8 teams are set. The finals are set. We have 4 games this weekend. Absolutely cracker matchups to get through. We'll start the preview straight away. As I said, we've got 4 games this week. Everything's set in stone, ready to go. Kicking off on the Friday evening, 7:50 p.m. A rematch from a couple weeks ago. The Doggies are heading back down to Melbourne. And I'll get into a little bit of it later. But Dogs are facing some injuries now. Storm, they're facing some injuries too. This is a really interesting matchup now. Storm, minus 4.5 favorite. Total is about 38, 39.5. Extremely low. Friday night, that is going to be an absolute cracker. That is a qualifying final. Winner gets to host a preliminary final to get into a grand final. Loser will host a elimination game next week. Saturday afternoon, we have 2 games on the Saturday. Panthers are heading over to my Warriors in Auckland. We are hosting a final. I do not think we'd be hosting a final this year at the start of the season, all honestly. Not because I thought we'd finish 7th or 8th, that sort of thing. I didn't think we'd finish top 8. I had us in the bottom 4. So the fact that we're here now and we have a home final, it's against Penrith. It's a huge challenge. I'm up for it. I'm ready to go. 4:05 p.m. on Saturday in the afternoon, so 6 o'clock in New Zealand. The only thing, I just don't get this. It collides the same time as the All Blacks playing on Saturday afternoon against South Africa. They kick off at 5 o'clock in Australia, so 1 hour later. I can't believe the scheduling has aligned and the NRL has set this time. I just can't believe it whatsoever. Sunday would have been perfect. Absolutely perfect, but it is what it is. That is an elimination final. It's the first elimination final. We've got both on the Saturday. Absolute cracker. And the second elimination final, it's at Shark Park as well. So they are allowed to host this final at Shark Park. It's going to be a smaller crowd for sure, but it's a Sharks home stadium. They are hosting the Sydney Roosters, who are absolutely flying at the moment. That is 7:50 p.m. this Saturday at Shark Park, the second elimination final. Loser, pack your bags, see you later. You're off to Bali for another year. See you back in March next year for pre-season. And Sunday, probably the game of the week. First versus fourth. Broncos heading down to Canberra, the minor premiers, 4:05 p.m. Sunday afternoon. It's probably going to be a sunny Canberra afternoon. A little bit windy, maybe a little bit of chill. Going to be really nice weather. I am surprised the NRL decided to put, I probably think, the marquee match of the week, like 1 versus 4, at the end of the week on a Sunday afternoon. That is an absolute doozy of a matchup. Reynolds looks like he's going to be 50-50, probably not playing. The Broncos, they're playing really well without them anyway. Do they need Reynolds? Do they need Ezra to come back? We're going to be able to find out, and it's going to be an absolute cracker. Winner of that one as well will host a prelim to get into a grand final as well. So the Raiders, they're 2 wins away from getting into a grand final. They are 1 win away from hosting a prelim, and they're literally 2 games away from getting to the grand final. This means so are Broncos, but to think preseason that the Raiders would be here is absolutely insane. So to think they're 2 home wins away from getting into a grand final is absolutely insane to think about. So this will be my round 27 review. That is the finals games we've got locked in for this week. Finals, week 1. with my round 27 review, I will go through the games. I obviously won't touch on the games that really don't mean anything or the teams that aren't really participating in the finals. I'll focus a bit more on the teams that are going to be playing in the finals this weekend. And that all started on Thursday. Broncos defeated the Storm 30-14. And not a result I had on my bingo card to start the week. Not a result I thought was coming, but full credit to the Broncos. They absolutely fully deserved the win. Big news coming out of this one is Jerome Hughes, broken wrist. He's got a broken wrist. He'll definitely be out for the Doggies game this week. I mean, it's a broken wrist. I would have thought he'd be gone for the season, 100%. Whether he's back, like, potentially for the grand final, I don't even think, can he come back for a prelim? Can he come back in, literally 3 weeks from a broken wrist, whether he can play with some sort of brace? It's a huge risk in my opinion. Whether it's going to be worth it, that's the thing. Is it going to be worth it? Of course it's worth it. It's for a premiership, but is him injured with a broken wrist better than a Tyron Wishart there at 7? I'm not so sure. Pappenhausen, he is also going to be out as well with a concussion. He got concussed on Thursday against the Broncos, but their big addition is going to be Harry Grant returning back to the side after a 2-week hiatus with suspension. Him and Munster will be the main two halves or main two players in this spine. They will really need to step up for Melbourne. And going to the Broncos, I fully thought they deserved this win. Reece Walsh, again, he is absolutely flying. Don't get me wrong. We know the talent of this guy. We know the talent of this kid. He is absolutely outstanding on his day. The issue has always been, can he consistently perform at that level? And will his errors, at the error count, his errors seem to be at big crucial times. There seem to be unnecessary errors as well. Can he kind of tidy up those errors and make his impact on the game in a positive way as well? And at the moment, in the last 5-6 weeks, pretty much ever since Ezra and Adam Reynolds went down, Reece Walsh, man, he's absolutely stepped it up to another level. He's absolutely killing it for the Broncos at the moment. Anytime he gets the ball, there is danger. Anytime he gets the ball, there's danger at the moment. It is absolutely incredible to watch. Just shows the absolute talent of the kid. Showing a lot more maturity now, I think. We could talk about the toilet water thing and whatever. It is what it is. Get past it. It's not a big thing. Big woo. He drank toilet water out of a fresh toilet that he just installed. Who cares? Let's just move on. It's finals time. But it wasn't just the flashy plays by Reece Walsh in this game. It was the intensity. Reece was he was locked in. He was ready to go. From kickoff, he was dialed in. He was zoned in on exactly what he needed to do for his side, which wasn't just the flashy plays, but he needed the intensity there. And defensively, he needed to show up and really put in and really dig deep. And you could just tell he went to that another level where it's almost like an origin level where no matter what was going to happen, he was always going to be coming out on top in the one-on-one matchups, whether it's defensively or on attack as well. He just had to come out with the edge on the fight on top of that. And really good to see. And it's really showing his maturity as well of late. He's been absolutely blitzing it. As I said, the main thing was Jerome Hughes in the first half. He went down. Of course, it's going to kind of impact things for the Storm. They lost Nas 5 minutes before halftime to a sin bin, which was a fair call. I'm not sure if he's going to be in or he's going to be out this week, but Broncos, I believe even when they had a man in the bin as well, their goal line defense, Storm absolutely peppered them for a good 5, 6, 7 sets in a row. A lot of talks like Paddy Carrigan was blowing up the Lux. How Broncos had a man in the bin after about 1 set or 2 set restarts, and Storm had all these set restarts, and Broncos had all these set restarts, and Storm didn't get a player in the bin. It only took Nas to do something sort of stupid for him to get in the bin. But their goal line defense really set it up for them. Just before the end of halftime, their defense was huge. And that resulted in them scoring from Pierre Cura. He scored just on halftime. 2 minutes before halftime meant they went into halftime up about 16-10, I believe I want to say. And their big thing was to keep it going in the second half. They haven't had the best record against Storm in the regular season. Reece Walsh, straight out of the gates, 40-20 to start the second half. What do they do straight after 40-20 off that set? He scores himself. What does he do? He gets the ball in space. You know what he's going to do when he gets it, but it's so hard to stop. You just can't stop it. He gets the ball. He gets it in his right hand. You know he's going to try and get it around and fend off the left and get through. And exactly what he did. Just absolutely palmed off one of the Storm players and straight through. Did his little toilet water celebration. But that was a real momentum setter for the second half for the Broncos. It's always going to be hard for the Storm to come back from that. After that, just had all the momentum. As Pappenhausen, he was obviously suffering must have been concussion based in the second half because he did stay on. So, but overall, I think Bellamy's going to be really pissed with the ill discipline of the Storm. Had multiple chances, I think, to potentially somewhat get back into this game, whether it's back into one try or that sort of thing. But as soon as they did that, and Broncos had a chance back in their own half, they just give away a penalty, and it was so easy for the Broncos that it was almost in front that they just kept taking the two. They had 3 penalty goals, so they won 30-14. I believe Meany, he had a shocker off the boot. I think it was 4 tries apiece. Something outlandish or something like that, or 4 tries to 3. The scoreboard, I would say the score probably dictates how the game went. I think the Broncos deserved it, but 13 plus. If Storm get their discipline a bit better and don't concede those penalties, there's 3 less penalties there. Back to 2014, nail a couple more conversions from Meany, and you've got yourself a footy game. It really wasn't that far off for the Storm. Hughes is going to be a huge loss, and Pappenhausen. Pappenhausen has been out for a bit this year, so they're a bit used to. I mean, do they put Meany at fullback? I don't think they put Munster at fullback. I think Munster's got to be the 6. I think there's a big change to put like a Pezzett there at 7. You could have, Hughes is a big loss, I think, for that team. Hughes has been like the linchpin, I think I've said. In my opinion, for a lot of the season, he was when he missed a couple games at the end of the season as well. He's just this linchpin that brings all the attack together, just adds just that glue, just that finishing touch with his X factor though. And I think it's so important for a Storm team like this to have a Jerome Hughes to lead them around, especially with their kicking game. I know Munster's shown his kicking game at Origin before, but Hughes is your 7. Hughes is where your kicking game is at. So very intrigued now by this matchup on Friday. Doggies have got a point to prove, but I'll get to their game later and what I think of them. I still can't believe the Doggies played their starters up to this game. But next game, Manly defeating the Warriors 27-26. My Warriors went down by a point. Probably never really gave us. I wasn't massively confident going into this game. DC's last ever game for Manly. It was always going to be a huge occasion. And I mean, I don't think we've been playing that amazing like the last 5-6 weeks. Our best game has been against the Titans. Titans have just finished 16th. We haven't really shown it against a top 8 team. Manly's not even a top 8 team, and we still let them score 27. Not even that. The Warriors, you could not ask for a better start. It was crazy, like, when I watched it. And I don't know if you've seen, the Warriors scored the fastest try ever in the NRL. 8 seconds. James Fisher-Harris. 8 seconds. 8 seconds. We kick off. going straight to DCE. Obviously must have pulled up in the wind or a bit short or something. He's let it bounce. Saab has tried to get over and catch it off the bounce. He's slipped. He's knocked it on straight into Fisher Harris's bread butt. Like, you could not ask for more of a gift. Like, it fell into his hands. It fell into his hands. Like, straight to the bread basket, and he was straight in. He just died. He just fell and dived. 6-0. Thanks for coming. 90 seconds in. Could not ask for a better start to DC's last home game or last game to ruin the party. But just next set, Manly get it. DC, essentially their first set, he goes and kicks a 40-20. Absolutely unreal stuff. He's shown his kicking game for 15 years now. Unreal. What do they do? Manly go straight left, expose our right edge, 6-0 straight after 6-all straight after 4 minutes. So that 6-0 lead hardly lasted. It was 12-6 after like 10 minutes. They scored on the left side, like again. Really just exposed our right edge, which has been really disappointing this year. And not just really disappointing, like very noticeably bad. It's actually been like the worst defensive edge in like the comp. Our right edge with Dallin and Rocco Berry. Rocco Berry, he went down with an injury after 10 minutes. So we won't see him being named in Teamless Tuesday against the Penrith Panthers. I would probably see, I don't know, if like a Capewell goes in there or a Leia Tower, or you put C&K back in the centres and you put Torpicky back at fullback. Going to be interesting to see what we come across on TLT, or if you're listening to this today or this afternoon. Rocco Berry, poor guy, man. He just can't keep himself on the field. The talent is clearly there. But he just can't keep himself healthy. He's only been back for a couple of games, and he's done the shoulder again. So you got to feel for the guy. But how long can you keep up with these injuries? So he won't be playing this week. Big loss for us. As I said, we'll see what TLT produces. But poor defense. Not just our right edge, but poor defense in the middle, especially. Jake Simpkin. And by all no means, this is no disrespect to Jake Simpkin. He's not the biggest player in the field. He's a number 9. He's a number 9. He's a dummy half. He's not going to be the biggest player. If anything, he's probably going to be one of the smaller players on the field. And it was just all heart, that run, that he just took a little dart, just a dummy half, a couple meters out. And any day of the week, like 29 times out of 30, even more than that, we should be having, with our 2 props in the middle, standing up our defense and just pushing a guy like that back and not letting him score. He absolutely just barged over, and that was all just heart and all just like wanting it more, I think. Nothing to do with, he was stronger and that sort of thing. He's just a bigger player and a bit better. No, it was completely down to he just wanted it more. He wanted to score the try more than we wanted to stop the try. It's not finals defense. We've got Penrith Panthers this weekend, and we're pulling out this rubbish. We can't be having that this weekend against the Panthers. We will get massively exposed. They will put an absolute billion on us if that is the case. Really worrisome signs. They've really got to clean it up in training this week. So, couple nice things. DWZ, he scored a really nice try. Couple tries actually. So he scored in the second half off a really nice C&K pass actually, off a Matt Lodge error. So it's good to see that we scored points off an error. But again, the right edge got exposed again. Like Lehigh, he scored 1, I believe. Luke Brooks, he threw a dummy off, I think it's Aaron Clark. Like, Aaron Clark doesn't miss tackles like that. This went straight through Aaron Clark and then absolutely ran around C&K. Fair play to Luke Brooks. He had a really solid game. One of his better games for the year, I thought. But again, they just broke through our defense. Just that easy. And it's really scary to see what a guy like Cleary or a guy like Blaze Talangi can do to us this weekend if we keep up that shit. Not good enough. Just want to give a quick shout out to DC as well, Daly Cherry Evans. So obviously we know it's his last home game, or that was his last ever game for Manly. There's no more. Debuted in 2011. It's been an awesome career for Manly. He won a premiership in his rookie year. He has featured in so many state of origins, being the Queensland captain, being the Manly captain, played for Australia. Where's he going to land next year? It's looking like the Roosters, apparently. I think he should come up to Dolphins for sure. That's my opinion. Apparently, he's not going to come back to Queensland. I would love to see him come back to Queensland. He could play his junior footy in Redcliffe as well. By all accounts, it sounds like he'll end up at the Roosters for a year and then potentially land like a coaching role after he retires or something. I don't see the fascination for the Roosters as a club to go and sign DCE. I don't see what benefits they'll get out of it. I think they're probably seeing it as like his Cooper Croc situation, which he won them a premiership off it, or even two. But you're talking about two different players here, and I don't know if DCE is the type of player like Cronk that's going to produce a premiership for the Roosters in the first year, in the only year that he's there. So we'll see. Bit of a shining light for the Wars is Sam Healey. I thought he was a really solid game, starting at number 9. Wade Egan, he was out this week, so Sam Healey stepped in. I thought he was really solid. He scored a try of himself, and very similar to the Simpkin try, just a quick dart over dummy half. First instinct was to get the ball and run, which I love to see. Just went himself, and he just wanted it, and he got it. So that was a real shining light, I think, for the Warriors there. Really promising young kid that's coming through for us. I'm really excited and really intrigued to see where he does go within the Warriors. And, I mean, it finished 27-26. It was 27-20, so DCE did kick a left-footed field goal, by the way. A left-footed field goal to go up by 7. He's a right-footer, by the way. It looked like he contacted it super solid. It didn't look pretty, but considering it's his weak foot, it was mighty impressive. It did actually matter at the end because DWZ scored right on the siren. It didn't matter because, as I said, we're down by 7. But Tanazen nailed the kick on the sideline, 27-26. So without that field goal, completely different ball game. Apart from that, shocking beat. That DWZ drive result is a last minute cover for the Warriors. So if you had like the plus 5.5 or plus 6.5 and you got away with it. I mean, you got one there at the end. If you were someone who had the minus 6.5 and you went up by 7 and you for the cover, brutal loss. Absolutely brutal loss. I mean, you're down 6-0 at the start, but obviously came back from that. I probably thought you were definitely the better team on the night. I just didn't really see it there from the Warriors that they were the better team, that they actually did deserve to win this game. So, not a lot of promising signs heading to this weekend. Definitely not confident whatsoever. It is finals. It is a home game. Anything can happen. Do I believe we can knock off the 4-time champions? I don't think so. But we will just have to see. Friday night, South absolutely got trounced by the Roosters, 36-6. And the main storyline of the night, again, second week in a row, Mark Nwanga Nitawase scores a hat-trick. And we're not just talking any basic hat-trick here again. This guy is an absolute freak. His put-downs, his ability just to finish off a try is unlike anything I've ever seen in my rugby league watching over 20 years. His ability in the air is absolutely insane for someone who's so big. Get in the air that far and have the control and put it down like he does. The passes, the flick passes that he does, the offloads that he does, some of the try assists that he's had. He's an absolute freak. The Roosters need to sign this guy as long as they can. Rumour have it, the Wallabies will be trying anything they can to get this guy back to playing rugby union. But for the moment, special shout out to Mark Nwanga Nitawase. He finishes as the NRL 2025 top try scorer, 23 tries for the season. That is the most as well by a player essentially in starting his second season. So 23 tries is a bloody solid slog. 2 hat-tricks to finish off the season. Absolutely came home with a wet sail, but as I said, 36-6, easily just a better team on the night. Really thought South tried to work their way back into this. They went down 10-0 early. I won't talk about South too much. Went down 10-0 early. And then Jai Gray, he went through, bursted through the line. Awesome try for Ashton Ward to get them to halftime. Down 10-6. So only down at halftime 10-6. Unfortunately, an early sin bin in the second half to Jamie Humphries completely turned this game. Roosters were able to score twice with a man extra on the field. And once it got to 22-6, back to 13-13, it was just too much of an uphill battle for South to try and come back and get the Roosters, get their rivals. Roosters by then had locked up their final spot. They scored another, got it to like 28-6, and they were just a better team. Just run out of legs, South did. So I said, Mark, he scored 3, but the assists that go with it, Teddy, he had a beautiful assist to go with one of his tries. The kick from Sammy Walker off a bit of an ad-lib play. That was amazing. And then Toya's offload for Mark's try was absolutely insane as well. James Tedesco, Teddy. I'll probably be doing a video about this like in the next sort of week or so, in a couple of weeks, and talking about like my potential Australia Ashes team. How is he not the fullback? We've got to either burn this bridge of, he's not the New South Wales captain anymore. He doesn't even play State of Origin anymore. He is going to shit in the Dally M. He is going to absolutely fly in the Dally M. If he does not win the Dally M medal, something is seriously wrong with the NRL. He is absolutely flying this year, leading the league, leading the whole NRL in like line breaks or line break assists and assists as well. Tackle breaks. Just the whole like run meters, just he's top 3 at least. He will absolutely shit in the Dally M. I think he has to be the number 1 for Australia. He's clearly the biggest threat at the moment. If it's not Tedesco, it's Reece Walsh. It's not Edwards for me at the moment. It's just not Edwards. I'll touch on that in the next game. But if Teddy is absolutely flying at the moment. He's such a key staple for this Roosters side at the moment. That flick inside that he had for that Crichton try in the second half, like, it wasn't even like a basic flick inside. It was running to the left corner, and he was able to go overhead and get it to the right to still go backwards and straight into Critter's palms. He's an absolute workhorse. He's been in the NRL for, 15 years? Like 14, 15, similar to DCE, and he's still doing this at this level. It's absolutely crazy. So, as I said, that sin bin really did kill it for Souths. They were able to, Tupou scored off the next set, and I believe Watson scored. I think they went to back. So Tupou scored on the left, and then they made a break down the right side, and Connor Watson was able to score under the sticks from there. And as I said, kind of just put the whole game away. Roosters getting the win, 36-6. They are taking the world of momentum into Shark Park this weekend. Sammy Walker's playing well. Hugo Savala's working really well with Sammy. Teddy's working really well with those combos. You've got Loielu. He's working really well, starting at 9. Watson coming off the bench. Tupou, Nwanga Tawase, absolutely flying on the wings. You've got an origin centre in Robert Toya. You've got a really strong forward pack. And they're one of the dark horses heading into the finals, in my opinion, this year, 100%. They're favourites to beat Sharks at the home stadium at the moment, and it's on the road. It's at Shark Stadium. Yeah, I know it's just down the road, but still an on-the-road game in a finals game, and they're favourites, so it clearly proves where they're at. If they were playing Warriors, they would have been favourites in New Zealand as well. And outside the top 4, they're a really dark horse shot to try and really mix up this comp and see what can happen. So, good win by the Roosters. Next game, Super Saturday. Can we just take a moment? I know NFL has just started. We're getting into the finals, but that was the last Super Saturday of the season. 27 rounds gone. The last Super Saturday. 3 games, no more. No more 3 o'clock games in the afternoon. Gets a bit sad. But we battle on. First game of the Super Saturday was Dragons losing to Penrith 40-20. Won't touch too much on the Dragons, just on Penrith. I probably expected to kind of see this type of performance. I wouldn't say they absolutely flew out the blocks or they absolutely looked lights out or anything. I don't think they looked horrible though. I think it was really solid. They just did what they had to do. Really common saying generally with the Panthers is they just did what they had to do in that situation. Just had to get the win, finish in 7th so they can go to New Zealand. They had their stars back. They rested all of them in round 26, as we know. Had good 16 players back, so all your stars were back, and it was almost in a way like a good training run before the finals. And they just did what exactly they did that. They just wore down the Dragons in the first half. Death by 1,000 cuts, been their motto for the last 4 or 5 years. Just wore them down, scored a really nice try, nice and early, nice set piece to the left with Jenkins. 5 minutes in, again, grind them down, and then they score another try. And before you know it, it was 10-0 after like 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, sweet, Penrith, they're looking all good. They should run away with us. Kyle Flanagan scores out of nowhere off an Edwards drop bomb. And I want to quickly touch on Edwards because his last month of footy has been I don't want to say being worse, like it's the most out of form footy he's had in years. I think this whole like premiership run by Penrith, I can't remember like 3 or 4 games in a row where Dylan Edwards has just not looked there. He's just not looked like the fullback that we know he generally is. Can he find that form again coming into finals this week? Knowing me being a Warriors fan, he probably will go out and score 3 this week, but I probably expected a bit better from Dylan Edwards over the weekend. He had a week off, coming in a bit fresher. I thought he would have had a little bit of a point to prove to himself that he's ready. And I just he just wasn't quite there. He just had a couple errors. Didn't really do much. I think he scored like 29 in Supercoach or something. Like, really disappointing. It's his lowest score in years, I believe. As I said, he dropped that bomb, which led straight to that Dragons try there. Let them straight back into it. Panthers were able to score a couple after that. So they went into halftime at 22-6 up, I believe. And again, at halftime, it was similar against the Titans when they played them a few weeks ago. They were 24-0 against the Titans or something a few weeks ago. And Dragons just come out the second half and just go bang, bang. In a moment where you thought Penrith just saw at 22-6, okay, cool. They'll probably go along and win this 40-10. They should really just grind them down, pull Cleary off 15 minutes to go, do what they need to do. But no. Corey Allen scored, and I forget who scored the other try. Oh, it was Sloan, excuse me. Allen and Sloan scored within 5 minutes of each other. Before you know it, it was 22-16 or 22-18. Dragons absolutely flying. And Panthers had to kick back into another gear again, and they ended up winning this one 40-20. But they had to really score a few tries at the end and dig deep to try and get back to that margin there. So we'll see. I think they're still a little bit vulnerable at times. I did think Cleary was really solid. He showed a lot of intention in this game, especially with his running game. He had a line break. He even scored a try as well, support play. He had 2 assists as well. He went 6 from 7 off the boot as well. His ball to Alamotti for Alamotti's first try was an absolute peach. Absolutely no stopping that. He's still going to be such a key part of this final series, as we know, as he has been for the last 5 years. And that was a really good performance for Cleary himself heading into the final series after he's got a lot to prove himself in this finals, because Origin this year, he did not prove that to us. Can he do it back at Clubland? Everyone's backing him. Everyone will be backing him. But overall, his performance, I was really happy. If you're looking at performances for Penrith, he was really solid. shout out to Paul Alamotti. Just in the last few weeks, he's got his opportunity back into the NRL starting side again. We know he started in the grand final last year. We know he started in the team in Vegas. We know he started up until about round 6 or 7 this year. Then he wasn't really performing. He went back to New South Wales Cup. He's been in New South Wales Cup for a lot of the year now. He's just got another opportunity now with Bizza being injured a little bit. And he's really taken his opportunity. And that's the player that we know Paul Alamotti is. And that he could be at the Doggies and just didn't quite get the good opportunity that he should. He got another opportunity now here at Penrith. He's taken the second chance with Penrith this season with 2 hands. He scored a double. He's in really good form. I've heard a bit of a whisper that he may be named for TLT this week to travel to Auckland, potentially for Jenkins or something like that, purely based off form and his performances in the last sort of month or so. So, good shout out, or special shout out to Paul Alamotti. He's playing really well at the moment. But yeah, Penrith just needed to do what they did. Really good tries by Blaze Talangi. Good tries by Keith McLean. He's on fire at the moment. That was a really nice try. Jenkins down the left wing, kick back inside for McLean. Got the win, 40-20. They'll look straight onto New Zealand, going to Auckland this week. Dragons, they finished about 13th, 14th for the year. For a team that had so much hope and so much potential at the start of the year, and they get so much praise as well, and they're really trying to improve, the result at the end of the season really doesn't show too much. So they've got a big off season in terms of moves and what they want to do, especially with their halves situation. They got Dan Atkinson coming there next year. So we'll see. We'll definitely see it. So next game. Wow. This is the most Titans-Tigers scoreboard result game you could ever see. Titans getting the win to avoid the wooden spoon, 36-28. And what a weird game. Like, what a strange game. Like, so similar to last week for the Titans. Dolphins came out the blocks 18-0 in 18 minutes, and you thought, wow, this is going to be a long, long night for the Titans. It was 10-0 to the Tigers inside 10 minutes, and huge shout out to Makasini scoring a try on his debut, the 18-year-old. Awesome try as well. This kid is going to be so special. He's going to be a big young talent in the NRL, especially coming on next year. He should be the starting left winger for the Tigers next year, I believe, with Taruva in the other wing. I believe that's true. Looks like he's got a lot of talent, but Titans did similar to what they did last week. They got it back to 12-10. AJ Brimson scored, and then I forgot who scored the other try, but they got it back to 12-10. 15 minutes to go to halftime, and then Royce Hunt scores this really strange try. Like, super bizarre. He thought he was held up, or they were checking the bunker for something, and then they realized he actually had put it down accidentally on the line. So that became a try. Royce Hunt breaks the Ducks back in the last game of the season, scores a try in his last game of the season, and didn't just score one. 5 minutes later, Tigers put up a bomb, gets dropped by Keeney, gets passed inside. Who's there in support under the sticks? Bloody Royce Hunt. Scores a double in 5 minutes that off the bench must have been paying hundreds to one. Absolutely insane odds. And then they scored again with Fainu just before halftime. So it was 10-0 Tigers, 12-10 Titans. This is still in the first half, and it went to halftime 28-12 to the Tigers at halftime. 40 points in the first half. And you thought, yeah, that's the Titans. That's the Titans that we know. But with the last half, under Desi, under Kieran Foran, they find some spirit. They get an early try. They work their way back into it. Cooper Bye, he has a disallowed try to get it back to a one-try game. Then they finally get a try. They get it back to a one-try game. And then Beau Fermor scores the try to take the lead. AJ Brimson down the left, passes off to Brian Kelly. He streams down the left, back inside the Beau Fermor, 30-28. 15 minutes ago for the Titans to come back from 28-12 down to take the lead. And then with about 6 minutes ago, AJ Brimson, he is unreal as a football player. Absolutely outstanding. He says he's not a center, but every time he goes to center, he absolutely brains it, absolutely kills it. And it's going to be such a big decision for the Titans again in the offseason where they want to play AJ Brimson and all these stars. Like, shout out to Carter Gordon. Shout out to Cooper Bye as well, making their debut in the NRL, which is really cool. But a guy like Carter Gordon, he's come over from the Wallabies. He's got a lot of talent. Is he going to be a center in the NRL? Is he going to be a half in the NRL? A lot to see. And yeah, so we'll just have to see for next year, again, where they manage to put these stars. But really special moment in the last game for Kieran Foran. That was really cool to see. Clear to see that the boys, the Titans, got up for him in that second half and how much it actually meant to him as well. He's had an awesome career. He's had an awesome career. He really defined driving into the line and getting deep and passing back to open up more room. Stellar career. Started at Manly. He went to Warriors even for a year. He went to Eels as well for a little bit as well. Went back to a second stint at Manly and then to the Titans. So he's done about 4 or 5 clubs. Bit of a journeyman. Plenty of games. Won a premiership. Awesome player. Even better bloke as well. Shout out to Kieran Foran. Hope he has an awesome retirement. He's been such a good impact on the NRL. He's going to be deeply missed. And so good that the Titans were able to get the win for him there. Next game. I can't believe this. I am genuinely... Squishy is shocked. I'm still in disbelief. Like, this is 2 days later after this game. Sharkies defeat the Bulldogs 24-6. And it's not about the result. Not about the result. Because this game was essentially, for the Bulldogs, and the Sharks even, was a dead rubber in the end. Before this game was played, more than 24 hours before this game was played, we knew the Bulldogs could not finish any higher than third, any lower than third. They were locked in to go down to Melbourne no matter what in week 1 of the finals and go play Melbourne. Sharks, they were pretty much locked in, ready to go to play a final against the Roosters. These guys were locked into their position. I can understand Sharks not resting any guys at all, but the Doggies, they are a top 4 team. They send a full strength team out there. Full strength. No one's rested. And they've absolutely paid the price. I just cannot believe this, that they put out a full team in a dead rubber game a week before finals. And it's resulted in Montoya, he's gotten injured. He's done an ankle. He won't be there next week. Bronson Sherry, he got a HIA. He was Cat 1 straight away. He will not be featuring in Melbourne. Kickout, he took a big hit as well. I know he went off for a HIA. I'm not sure where he's going to be named this week. I don't believe it's Cat 1. I believe he came back on. Matt Burton, same thing as well. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? I just don't get it. Like, we're talking about 4 really important players. At least 2 of them are so important to this team. Such a big impact on this attack. And they've just blown it. For what reason? I just do not understand whatsoever. They've got the potential now this weekend to be lining up with, see if Burton's going to be playing. If he's not going to be playing, do you put Hayward back in the 6? Do you put Lockie Galvin back in the 6 and put Sexton back at 7? Carraz is injured at the moment, so Blake Wilson's probably going to have to come in now for Montoya. Just trying to think who's going to come into the centers now for the Doggies. Does Crichton go back to fullback and Tracy go into the wing or in the centers? You've got Tawala there as well. I just do not get this whatsoever. They've absolutely paid the price. If they lose this weekend, it's completely their fault. Only got themselves to blame for sending out a full team. I don't care if you're still trying to build combos or whatever. If you're still trying to build combos in the last round of the regular season heading to finals, You don't deserve to be a premiership contender anyway. These guys have battled all year. Like, and they must be so tired. And just to have that extra week off before the finals for your key guys that are facing a tiny bit banged up. But then to go out and just absolutely go full for leather into tackles and this sort of thing. And I just didn't see the benefit whatsoever. There is no benefit to what they did whatsoever. All resulted in a negative. As I said, they lost 24-6, but the main thing was those 4 players that have potentially gone down. Definitely at least 2 of them will not be featuring this week for the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Overall as a game, nothing really much exciting happened. Was 0-0 for the first sort of 25 to 30 minutes. Billy Burns, he scored the first try, really nice try. Brayden Trindle, he didn't feature in this game. I thought Dan Atkinson was really solid as his replacement. The big one for the Sharkies is that Nico Hines was initially suspended 1 week for his hip drop tackle, which would be a huge loss for them this weekend. But it has now been cleared today when I'm recording this, or yesterday when you're listening to this. He has now been cleared to play. Good decision. Good decision by the NRL. Thank goodness for that. He will be playing this weekend in the finals for the Roosters. I thought he was really solid as well. He had a really nice assist to, I forget who it was now, but he had a really nice, it was to Billy Burns for that first try. Just kind of did what he had to do there, but nothing really much happened. Like, the only try that Doggy scored was a length of the field to Wala off not a botched kick by Cronulla, but just a bit of a mix-up. Tuala went the length of the field, but nothing really much happened. It was a dead rubber for both teams, but as I said, I cannot stress enough how dumbfounded I am that the Bulldogs sent out a full team, knowing that they couldn't finish any higher than third or any lower than third. They were locked in. They were playing Melbourne no matter what. And I was just shocked when even last Tuesday the teams got named and they named the full team. And yeah, I was shocked, completely shocked. We'll see this weekend if it pays the price for them. If it does, if they go out in straight sets, we'll look back. We'll look back at this moment, and we'll look back at when Lockie Galvin got signed. Well, I think we'll look back at this moment, round 27, when they named these 2 guys. If they lose this weekend to the Storm by a try or 2 points, they're gonna wonder what would happen if we had kick out, or what would happen if we had Sherry or Montoya. Just that little bit more of our starting side just to help bring us together. What happens if Burden's not there? What happens if Burden goes down again? Just a lot of things. So Bulldogs had an awesome chance after Hughes went down and Pappenhausen went down to go down to Melbourne and cause an upset. But now they've done this, and we're going to see what happens, but I really hope it hasn't really hurt them too much. Heading into Sunday, 2 pretty meaningless games. I won't spend too much time on this. Dolphins absolutely obliterated the Raiders, 62-24. Now, this Raiders team, they had about 9 or 10 out. Timoko was also late out on the Saturday. So basically, most of the New South Wales Cup team was playing this one. Sunday afternoon at Redcliffe. Sunny conditions. Not a lot of wind. Points were absolutely aplenty here. Shout out Mark Nichols in his last ever game in the NRL. He scored a try for the Dolphins with his first touch once he came on. That was absolutely unreal scenes. Outstanding. His celebration was even better as well. He is a fan favourite, the GOAT, Mark Nichols. He's a fan favourite, not just in the Dolphins, but across the NRL as well. Even when he was at Souths, he was a fan favourite. He's going to be sorely missed in the NRL. Shout out to Mark Nichols. Awesome career. Hope he enjoys retirement as well. And then he's copped a bit of an injury now. But Hammer, he scored a hat-trick. He finished second on the NRL try ladder. His big injury now. He went down with about 15 minutes ago with an ankle injury. He will not be featuring. He's out now. He will not be featuring in the Ashes, which is a huge loss for Australia. He was most likely going to be in a centre spot for Australia, where Turbo or Latrell there, or there's someone else I'm definitely not thinking of. But I thought Hammer would be definitely a really good chance of playing for Australia in the Ashes. Nafahu, he got a double as well. He not just got a double, he got 170 super coach points, which one of the biggest scores of the year. I was very fortunate I grabbed him like a couple months ago when he just came in. He was a good pod play for me. He absolutely boosted the fuck out of my score on Sunday, which is so good to see. I've kept going on about how talented this guy is and how he's gonna be on this left edge for the Dolphins starting consistently very soon. What happens with Bostock? Do they put him in the center spot? I'm not sure. And shout out to Joe Roddy as well. He scored a double off the bench for the Raiders. He was an absolute beast. Special shout out to him on debut off the bench, scores a double for the Raiders. They still went down. There's not too much to take from this game, guys. It's not going to be the same Raiders team that goes down, that plays the Broncos this weekend. They're not going to concede 62 again. But this whole thing about no team has won the comp conceding 50 points is super interesting because that comes into play now. So, they scored over 50. They conceded 60. So, yeah, it wasn't their full team, but we'll see. We will see. And then the last game of the regular season, game 204. Parramatta Eels they not just defeated the Knights, they absolutely obliterated, embarrassed, and sent the Knights to Bali, like convincingly, 66-10. We had 2 60 burgers in 2 games on one day. I'd love to know if there's ever been that in the NRL history, if there's been 2 games in a round that has had two teams score 60, especially in the same day as well. Absolutely insane. This was, I'll keep it short, embarrassing for the Knights. They didn't even try. They fully gave up. They gave up a couple of weeks ago. They were already in Bali before this game kicked off. They had absolutely zero intention in this game right from the start. They were down 6-0 within 2 minutes. Dylan Brown, ironically, scores the first try for the Knights. His last game for the Eels was really cool to see him and Moses line up together in their last game together. He even got to do the conversion near the siren as well. So really good farewell for Dylan Brown. But ironically, he's going to the team that they just absolutely smashed. So Knights, they were absolutely embarrassed. Mitch Moses, he scored a hat-trick in the first half. And one of his tries, one of the better tries I've ever seen from a 7 individual, takes the ball himself from dummy half, 90 meters out from his own try line, and just darts it, absolutely darts it straight through the Knights defense, this lazy defense, and then goes straight around the fullback in the corner there. He got a hat-trick in the first half, first ever hat-trick for him as well, and he got it in the first half. Fox, he comes out in the second half and scores a hat-trick himself. It was an absolute party fest for Parramatta in the second half. They scored some awesome tries. They were absolutely running rampant. Riley Smith, he scored his first try. Shout out to him. I've said it the last few weeks, really exciting for where the Eels are going in the next couple of years. I think they are a massive, massive dark horse to finish in the top 8 next year if they can stay healthy. If Moses can stay healthy in this team, I really do think they'll finish top 8 next year. That is a really big call for me. That caps off the round 27 review and slight preview as well for finals week 1 of NRL. The 8 teams are all decided. The 4 finals games are locked in for week 1. We've run through them pretty quickly. I will now touch on the NRLW round 10, second last week of the season. And I'll just quickly start with the ladder. We've still got the Roosters at the top. They are 10 from 10. They had not lost a game this year. They are pretty much all but sealed up the minor premiership this week. However, if they play the Sharks this weekend, so a bit of a tough game. If the Sharks were to lose, if they were to lose to the Sharks and then the Broncos were able to beat the Cowboys, that's a good game as well. So you've got 1v4 and 2v3 this week actually in the NRLW. Then the Broncos can actually be minor premiers. But the way the Roosters are playing at the moment, I would say they'll be having the minor premiership in the NRLW. So with the way that the finals format works in the NRLW, you have your top 6 out of your 12 teams. Top 6 make the finals out of the top 2. Top 2 being the Roosters and Broncos at the moment. They are locked in for top 2. They will get the first week off. It is a 3 weeks final format. They will get the first week off. So the first week of finals will be 3rd versus 6th, 4th versus 5th. The winner of that will play Roosters and the Broncos, and they're going to be your 2 prelims. Winner of those will play in the grand final. I think it is on grand final day. I think they do it on grand final day, which is cool to see. So I said, Broncos, they're 9-1 at the moment. They're sitting on 18 points this year. They do have a better points difference than the Roosters. So as I said, there is a slight chance they can still get the minor premiership. No matter what, those 2 teams, Roosters and the Broncos, will be having next week off in the finals, which is a huge, huge advantage. Coming in 2nd and 3rd. So 3rd we have, not 2nd and 3rd, excuse me. 3rd we have the Cowboys, 14 points. They had a really big win on the weekend. They're definitely locked in at this stage for the top 4. Most likely we'll be playing a home final next week, a home elimination final. Sharkies are at 12 points. So are the Knights as well. Points difference is pretty tight as well. So Sharkies play the Roosters this weekend. Bit of a tough game. Knights, they just play the Dragons. Now the Dragons aren't in the 8, or aren't in the 6, sorry. So the Knights will be favoured to win that game. The Sharks will not be favoured to win that game. Going to be very interesting. So the Knights do actually still have a chance to host a home elimination final next week, which could be actually against the Sharks. So there is a chance that these 2 teams will play each other next week. Which one has the home final, we'll have to see. So coming in at 6 is the Titans. So they are sitting on 9 points. The Eels are sitting on 8 points at the moment. The Eels are pretty much the only team left to have a mathematical chance of making the top 6. If they were to defeat the Bulldogs this weekend, the Eels, and the Titans were to lose to the Raiders, the Eels would make the finals. So the Titans are in full control of their destiny. They just have to beat the Raiders this weekend to get into the finals, which would be awesome to see. Really good to see Gold Coast teams starting to make some finals, by the way. Nice and exciting. As I said, the Eels, they're at 7th. They're on 8 points. They do definitely have to beat the Bulldogs this weekend to have any sort of chance of getting into the finals. Below them is the Doggies at 7 points. They're not going to make the finals this year. Even if they absolutely smashed the Eels and Titans had a big loss, still not really a chance they're going to make the finals. And the Warriors, Dragons, and Raiders, they're all on 6 points. The Warriors, they've had about their 4th loss in a row to finish the season, or close to finishing the season, which is a bit disappointing. They lost to the Broncos on the weekend. They will not be making the finals this year in their inaugural season. Still really proud of the Wahine and how they've played and the effort they've showed this year. Peyton Takimawana, she is absolutely unbelievable for the Warriors. And we'll see where this team goes in the future. So, as I said, Warriors, Dragons, and Raiders, they're all at 6 points. And then at the moment, it is the Tigers. They will get the wooden spoon for the NRLW this year. I know they just let go of Brett Kamali. He was the head coach as well. I think it's a lot more problems than just a head coach. I'm sure they'll look into that. So yeah, the Tigers do get the wooden spoon for the NRLW this year. Heading into the results quickly. Roosters started the week, defeated the Raiders 26-14 to continue their winning streak up to 10. Pretty much close to sealing the minor premiership. They go play the Sharks now. They're definitely in a top 2 spot. Shout out to Mia Wood. She's got a lovely double, which is good to see. But they're pretty much going to be looking ahead to the second week of finals. So pretty much close to locking up that minor premiership. They've definitely locked up the first week bye, which is really important to have. Now they will go and host a home final in their prelim to get into the grand final. Second game of the week, Cowboys absolutely obliterated the Dragons 42-14. Shout out Francesca Goldthorpe for the Cowboys on the wing there. She scored a double for the Cowboys as well in their big win. Also, shout out to Tegan Berry as well. She also scored a double. She's been absolutely killing it for the Dragons. Bit of a shining light in this Dragons side at fullback there. She's been absolutely amazing for the Dragons this year. Scoring tries, 200 meters a game, that sort of thing. She's absolutely awesome for the Dragons this year. Cowboys, as I said, they now go play the Broncos. So they're sitting in third. they're most likely going to finish in that top 4 spot, but they can definitely consolidate a easy home final if they were able to beat the Broncos this week. Next game, bit of an upset this one. Didn't see this coming. It's shaking things up a little bit. The Bulldogs in their first season have gone and defeated the Sharkies 24-14. Big upset. Doggies, fair play. I believe they went into halftime up about 12-8 or something like that and just got the job done. And it's really shaking things up because Cowboys have had that big win. They're not going above the Sharks now into third. So the Sharks, they're now sitting in fourth, and now the Sharkies go and play the Roosters now to try and secure a home final. So they lost a big opportunity there in the weekend to try and consolidate, get that home final, and they blow it. So fair play to the Doggies, get the win 24-14, shake up the comp a little bit. On Sunday, had our Warriors in Hamilton, last home game for the season, went down to the Broncos 26-6. Taki Moana was not able to score in this game, unfortunately. Special shout out to, again, Tamika Upton. She was my Women's Player of the Week last week. She scored 4 tries against the Bulldogs. Comes back and now scores a double. So 6 tries in 2 weeks. She's absolutely flying. They've locked in a top 2 spot now. Still a very slight chance of getting that minor premiership. They would have to beat the Cowboys this weekend, and then they would have to rely on the Sharkies beating the Roosters. Again, not that I think it's a massive thing. They're going to be hosting a final. They get the first week off anyway. They're going to be hosting a prelim final to get into the grand final. So we'll see. They'll probably actually end up resting this week. So we'll have to wait and see. And last 2 games of the week for the NRLW, the Knights defeated the Titans. Good game this one, 28-22. 2 finals teams that, Knights will be seeing in the finals. Where will we see the Titans? Most likely. But really competitive game. Nice high scoring. 2 teams that will definitely be, not definitely going to see in the finals. I just said that. But 2 teams I think deserve to be in the finals there. Shout out to Jessie Southwell for the Knights. She scored a double, which is really cool to see. And now the Knights play the Dragons. So the Dragons aren't in the finals. Knights have got a really good opportunity to go and beat the Dragons this weekend to secure their home final, which is big, especially for elimination final. So for them, beat the Dragons this weekend, get a home final. Simple as that. Titans have to play the Raiders this weekend to get into the finals as well. Raiders are not in the playoffs as well. So again, these 2 teams are now playing 2 teams that aren't making the finals to secure their spot, whether for a home final or in that top 6. So both these 2 teams, they put up a both good fight. Even though the Titans lost, they both still got really good opportunities coming to the finals time. And then to cap off round 10 of the NRLW, Eels absolutely obliterated the Wooden Spoon Tigers 38-4 after the Eels men's side had a massive win. Shout out to Mahalia Murphy getting a hat-trick in the first half. The winger for the Eels, they went into halftime in this game up about 28-0. Something absurd. It was game over halftime. But even in the second half, Mertha Mataele, she scored a double as well. So tries flowing absolutely everywhere for the Eels. Had got a player scoring a hat-trick, got a player scoring a double. But Eels, they now have to go definitely defeat the Bulldogs this weekend to have any sort of chance of making finals. Unfortunately, their destiny, they're not in control of it. Even if they do win, they still have to rely on the Titans losing to go and get a finals berth. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a really exciting round 11 of NRLW. Absolutely can't wait. It's the last round of the NRLW before the finals. The finals, they're almost set. The top 2 are ready to go. Your top 4 teams are pretty much ready to go as well. Or top 5 even. Just go to see if the Titans can make it. And then the finals are set. The men's finals are set. All the rounds will be done. We'll be straight into finals, into the good stuff. We've said goodbye to the other teams. And now we're into the peachy stuff. So let's get going. That is my round 10 NRLW review for you guys there. And that will do it for another episode of the Squishy Sports Podcast, giving you my NRL round 27 review and my finals week 1 preview as well. The regular season is done. That absolutely flew by. And my NRLW round 10 review. 1 round to go before heading to NRLW finals. Let's bloody go. Thank you for guys for watching and see you next time. Cheers.